My initial response was, wow, this is monumental. This is going to mean that the United States is really entirely leaving the multilateral sphere. Save from actually leaving the United Nations as an organization itself. That was my initial response when I saw that there were 66 entities. But the closer you look at the list of entities and initiatives and organizations the United States is leaving, the more you realize a lot of this is really symbolic politics. It's quite performative because many of these entities are just incredibly small potatoes. They are ones that people have never heard about. For instance, there's an international lead and zinc study group. How big can that possibly be, and how big could it be in terms of the actual number of people who are participating in it? There's a deal. There are, however, a few that are a big deal. Overall, I should say that the entities that the Trump administration has decided to leave are very much those that are not that it feels ideologically opposed to. So there are issues having to do with climate. There are issues having to do with development, and particularly entities in which countries of the so-called global south, in other words, developing countries, are quite supportive of. There are entities having to do with gender, particularly the rights of women and issues of reproductive health, and there are issues having to do with science. So there are a few notable departures. The other thing, though, that is very important to bear in mind is that when the United States pulls away and the rest of the world continues going, the question is who's driving the train and who is exercising the most influence in that particular circumstance. Now, the Trump administration, in some ways like the Biden administration before it, sees itself locked in something of a geopolitical competition and rivalry with China. And one of the lessons from the first term in which Donald Trump was in office was that, frankly speaking, if you leave the field, the other players are going to dominate, and the most powerful player is going to dominate the playing field. And so it's a little odd to simply have this view that if we don't show up, we're necessarily going to get our way, or that things are going to go in our direction in the multilateral field. It seems to me that if you want to prevent international organizations from going astray, the best way of doing something is actually to be involved in that competition.